Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this special Broadband Breakfast live online interview. I'm Drew Clark, CEO of Broadband Breakfast, and I'm here with Bryan Darr of Ookla. Welcome, Bryan, and tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things on your mind right now.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you having me today. Yeah, I'm the VP of Government Affairs for Ookla. I work with our policy and advocacy issues quite a bit of the time, but I've been very involved, of course, with a lot of the state broadband offices as BEAD has gotten underway. I've been in telecom for many, many years. Ookla, for those of you who might not be familiar with it, we're best known for speed test. We see millions and millions of tests every day that come in from consumer-initiated testing. But we also have root metrics, Ekahau, and Down Detector as part of our portfolio.
Well, and we're recording this in mid to late June. Obviously, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, through uh, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, released the very significant changes to the BEAD NOFO on June 6th. And many of you will have seen our Speeding BEAD Summit on June 12th. And we're after that time period, and we're now in this rushed 90-day period. Tell us a little bit about how you at Ookla are viewing the pressure that state broadband offices are under right now.
There were a number of things in the new directive that came out that I think everybody expected, but what they didn't expect, at least I don't think most of them did, was an extraordinarily tight time frame to turn some things around and do some reevaluation of their awards process and who was getting the awards. 90 days is if you look at the last 3 years and everything that's been going on there, to do a significant part of that again in 3 months is very, very tight. Here at Ookla, we understand and appreciate that there really isn't time to do a significant or in-depth evaluation like many of these states have undertaken previously and would might like to do again. But 90 days, less than 90 days now, simply there's not time enough there. And so Ookla wants really to offer our help, um, whether they're a current client or whether they're not. Any state broadband office that needs assistance, we're willing to help them with reports that can give them some insight into how each individual ISP that serves their area today is actually performing. What are the most important metrics? It's download speed, it's upload speed, and it's latency that are really captured in the requirements.
Let's drill into that just a little bit more. Not just download and upload and latency, but what Ookla does. And I know you described the company just a bit ago about speedtest.net, but root metrics and others. Could you just speak about like the purview that Ookla has into the actual functioning speeds and latency of the internet? Like, just talk a little bit about what you bring to the table that might actually be very useful for state broadband officers right now.
So we have, as I mentioned, millions of people take tests every day globally, but we have hundreds of millions of tests that we have over the last year right here in the United States. So this is applicable to any state. There's going to be a significant amount more data than they've probably ever seen in their challenge process, and certainly that's available through other means. We do get very highly granular location data on more than half of these tests, and that's really what people have focused on. And these tests also really give insights into the full experiences that people have on the internet. Some people say that people only take a speed test when they're having a problem. Well, number one, that's not true. People take speed tests when they change their plan tier, when they buy a new piece of equipment. If they're having a bad experience, they often do take a speed test. Well, very often the ISP is not the problem. So we get a good solid reading on that ISP. It may be the gaming site they're trying to reach. Their banking site may be down. Netflix may be loading slowly, but that doesn't mean it's the ISP's fault. So when we look at the very best tests that are available, that really is indicative of what's being supplied to the end user, to the household.
And just to repeat that, you're saying this is an offer that is available to state broadband officers, whether they are or aren't current customers. Is that right? Anything more you want to say on that? Obviously, everyone will be able to sign up and will email to you some contact information from Ookla. But what specifically would be of use for state broadband officers as they're pressured by this 90-day time frame right now?
Well, in this short time, I can't go into every little detail, but these primary metrics of download, upload, and latency really need to be looked at on a per ISP basis. You've got
Yes.
a lot of new entrants into this potentially that want to have their applications considered. Do these operators, do these ISPs meet that criteria, historically,
Yeah.
over with their current customer base? Any network, I don't care what kind of network is, and there's a lot of focus on these new networks that are now being considered. But any ISP that does not have enough infrastructure to support their current customer base is going to have problems. I don't care what kind of technology it is. And so having some insights into whether a given ISP or a given applicant, should be awarded an area to cover. These are the assessments that all of these state broadband officers now need to make with in an extraordinarily short period of time and probably with limited information. If
Absolutely.
they haven't investigated if they haven't had the opportunity to really investigate these applicants before, then they're probably not going to have time in this very short window that everyone is looking at. And so it's not that our data should be the be all and end all of an assessment, but at the same time, if you've got an applicant who is wanting it to be awarded an area, being able to look at what their historical patterns have been and what service levels they have been able to support puts you in a much better position to be asking them these questions. If you don't have enough infrastructure today, what is your plan to get more infrastructure in place to cover not only the people that you already are covering, but the new areas that we might be awarding you? And if you don't have that historical information on performance from a given ISP, then you might not even know to ask that question.
Right. Do you want to say anything specifically about unlicensed fixed wireless service provider performance and satellite service provider performance as it may bear upon this need?
Well, I think that ties back into what I was saying before about infrastructure. I mean, one of the big concerns about, these two particular technologies is, do they have enough infrastructure to support significantly more customers? And any of them are could be in the position to do very much to do that and be able to support a significantly larger customer base. But you really do have to ask them these questions: is how much infrastructure do you plan to put there? Do they have, what are their plans for backhaul, associated with these areas? You can put all the infrastructure in place that you want. If you don't have enough backhaul, that's a question as well as to how much. We've even seen that with some fiber networks. You have fiber technology going out there, but their backhaul wasn't adequate enough to serve everyone at fiber level speeds. And so any of these issues can happen with any kinds of technology, but there certainly have been a lot of questions raised over satellite and unlicensed wireless. And and what are the mitigation plans in the event that unlicensed spectrum is being interfered with? How do you plan to react to that? How do you plan to deal with that? These are the kinds of questions that are out there that are extraordinarily important. What we bring to the table, though, is historical performance. How have they been doing?
A little bit earlier, we were chatting about the whole issue of oversubscription and how, any network can be oversubscribed. Do you have any final thoughts on that topic or other topics you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, that's a great example. The technologies that have been around for a long time, and I'll just use cable as an example. Cable operators generally don't have trouble hitting 100 down and 20 up. They've exceeded that for quite some time for the vast majority of their service areas. But if you look back at the history of those technologies, they did at times struggle to hit the speeds that they were able to hit. And then many of them have improved their networks, added to their networks, um, and expanded that infrastructure and backhaul to make sure that they can reach the speeds that they promise. And even today, one of the reasons why the FCC is so concerned about peak hours between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. When everybody gets home and pops on their streaming service or and wants to watch the game or watch a movie, this has a massive impact on the network. And can these ISPs meet that kind of demand most of the time for most of their customers? And that we think that this historical information can provide, significant insight into that.
Bryan, it's been wonderful chatting with you. Anything else you want to say to our state broadband friends and others who care about better broadband and better lives?
Well, for those who have worked with us for many years, we want to say thank you. We appreciate your trust in us and look forward to continuing to support you. As all of these networks get built, we know that everyone's going to have to monitor those for compliance, and our data has, for many states, already played a role as other funding mechanisms have been building out broadband over the last several years. For those of you who might not have used us, we'd love to talk to you today about how can we help you immediately, but also we'd love a deeper conversation about how we can help you as these networks get built.
Make sure to sign up on the page below. On behalf of Bryan Darr of Ookla, I'm Drew Clark, and we'll see you online.